Okay, hello. We're going to do another face-to-face video because there's not going to be graphics in this video. It's just going to be me talking about what's been happening in around this country and around this world due to this coronavirus. In the beginning, because of the media hype and because of all the elected officials running their mouth, maybe I didn't take it seriously enough, all right? And I sincerely apologize for that, but that's because of the media and the rhetoric from the politicians. But now we're hearing from the scientists about this disease. And the scientists, including many doctors and medical professionals, are very concerned about it because, people think it's 3% death rate. That's still very high. The flu is a 0.1% death rate, and I believe the swine flu is way under this as well. This disease kills people. It kills a lot of people, and the thing is that the seniors are most at risk. Those with pre-existing medical conditions, obviously, most at risk. But there's still a large segment of the population. And what we've seen in Italy right now, thousands of deaths. I think we have thousands of deaths in Italy right now. And like 20 or 30,000 cases. That's an incredible amount. Coronavirus around the world has already killed twice the amount of people that died on September 11th. Already. All right? And the concern is that it's going to get a lot worse. And the scientists and several reputable scientists, I've even watched some videos on YouTube from several reputable scientists about this. We're finally hearing from the scientists. And that's what they should have done in the beginning, instead of having these elected officials run their mouth. We can toss around the blame game all we want, all right? We should have been able to stop this disease. We should have been able to confine it to China had we stopped the travel out of China. Had China, people like, oh, well, China took it seriously, they closed everything down, but people somehow still got out of China and were able to bring this disease outside of China to the rest of the world. All right, this is called COVID-19, and the scientific name is SARS-CoV-2. So it's just very similar to SARS, but it's a lot more contagious, and it's already been much worse than SARS. And it's spread so far and so fast, and that's the concern. But we should have been able to stop it. We should have been able to shut down the planes. All right. This disease traveled around the world because of all the airplanes in the sky. And I've spoken about this before, that there are too many planes. When it comes to the environment and stuff. But damage is done, all right? The president obviously failed to get ahead of the curve. Yesterday he said everything is fine, and now he realizes he had another press conference. I mean, listening to this buffoon is just unbelievable, all right? He had a chance to stop it. He had a chance to stop this thing. He's like, well, we canceled travel from China, but those people already went from China to other countries and then came to the United States and brought that disease here. We should have closed the borders immediately. The president has the authority to do that, and we should have done that, all right? Close the borders immediately and only allow the United States citizens back in the country. And when those citizens came back into the country, they would have had to have been quarantined for 14 days to make sure that they don't have the virus. But we didn't do that. Trump was more concerned about Wall Street. And now look at what has happened. Wall Street is collapsing. It really is happening. Dow was down nearly 3,000 points, like 13% or something today, and it's going to go down even more. This is scary, seeing everything shut down. Well, not everything. I mean, here's the thing. The media, again, gives misinformation. They're saying, oh, restaurants must close. All restaurants are closed. Well, they're closed to dining in. You can still take out from the restaurant. You can still use the drive-thru. You can still get delivery. You just can't sit down inside. And this is happening, and the reason why is, I'm going to credit Laura Kern and Phil Murphy for talking about this, that they got reports over the weekend that bars were open, people were jammed in there, like just crunched in there, because and they were not listening. They were not listening. They were saying, You've got to have, social distancing, 6 feet at least, all right? And they did not listen. And because they did not listen, they had to act to close the dining rooms. I mean, these are all probably young, healthy kids that, or if it spreads around, they're going to be fine. But what happens when they get on the train and they sit next to a senior citizen, and maybe they cough, the senior citizen catches it, and one's in the hospital fighting for their life. All right, and that's the problem. We've seen a lot of carelessness going on. Yes, I think these measures are very draconian that are being taken. It's very concerning, the hit that the businesses are going to take, and I'm very concerned about that, obviously. But at the same time, we do have a responsibility to save the. Let's just put this in perspective here. Right now, Italy is a small country. Let's take the United States. All right, and here in New York, we already lead. We're going to probably have thousands of cases here. All right. Consider that you have the country as a whole, the United States, is populous, the United States. Let's say a quarter of the people get it. And then of the quarter of those people, 3% die. You're still talking probably millions could die. Or at least millions in the hospital. And our medical system can't support that right now. And that's the thing. And that was not communicated by Trump's board of whatever the hell he has over there. The only guy who seems to make any sense is this Fauci guy that they have. All right, he's a scientist. He's the CDC director, and he realizes that this disease. It's a very weird. First of all, one thing that was not spoken about by the media and by Cuomo and by all those other people talking is that this is an entirely new virus. All right, they use the phrase novel. All right, they should just say new. This is a new virus to science, a completely new virus. It's not like the flu virus. It's not like the cold virus. It's a unique virus that has never been seen before, right? And therefore, people don't have the resistance to it that they normally would have. And because of that, people's immune system don't have don't know how to handle it. And this virus, and again, this is why we got to listen to the scientists. When this all started, they should have let the scientists speak. Trump should have shut his trap. Cuomo should have shut his big trap and just let the scientists and the doctors talk about this. All right, and then I think we would have all understood the seriousness of this. This is a disease that's new to science. And this disease, it's not like a cold or a flu. When you catch a cold or a flu, remember I was running my mouth saying it was like the cold and the flu because I was misinformed. It's not like the cold and the flu. All right, for some of us it might be. But this virus doesn't go for the nose like a cold. The colds usually go for the nose, the throat. Flu usually goes for the whole body, aches and pains, and maybe the nose and a little upper respiratory congestion. This virus, COVID-19, goes deep in the lungs and damages the lung tissue. And most of us have immune systems, the younger folks maybe, or people that aren't, with compromised immune systems, whatever, can fight it off. Or the immune system can keep it from getting deep into the lungs. But for older people and people with serious immunocompromised systems, it can go deep in the lungs, and that's the problem. It can cause pneumonia, damage lung tissue, lungs fill with fluid, and the person dies. So lots and lots of people in Italy have to go on ventilators, and it's so bad that people who there are so many people they have to choose. They don't have enough ventilators for everybody. They have to choose who they can save because there's not enough ventilators. Now imagine if that happened here. That's why they're saying, and I'm going to give Laura Kern credit for this phrase, flatten the curve. Now flattening the curves means stopping the spread of this virus so there isn't a surge of people going to the hospitals. All right? I'm going to admit, I was guilty. I was being selfish. All right? Because we have to listen to scientists. Remember, I've always said, your health is priceless. You can't put a dollar figure on it. The environment and this planet are priceless. All right? Life is priceless. Life should always be more important than money. And here I am worrying about the economy. All right? Yeah, there's going to be a hit to the economy, and a certain demographic is going to suffer a great deal, especially a lot of those restaurants in those towns in the South Shore. It's going to change. It's going to change their way. I mean, truly, karma has come for them. All right, they were being greedy. What history has shown time and time again, when we get greedy, this planet and nature does something to kick our ass, and this virus is doing exactly that. I don't want to see civilization collapse. That would be a devastating thing, and I really hope that doesn't happen. I really hope it doesn't happen. It doesn't have to. We have to work together to fight this virus. And so how do we fight it? How do we fight it? Well, by closing all the indoor areas because people weren't being responsible. And I saw this yesterday when I ate out. People were waiting in line right on top of each other. Some of them are older folks too. And I'm standing there 6 feet away from them, trying to maintain the social distancing. And nobody was doing it. Nobody was being responsible. And this is the problem. This is where the government feels they have to step in because people aren't using common sense. It's just like a lot of people, they don't even wash their hands after using the bathroom. How disgusting is that? How disgusting is that? I think you should be required to wash your hands. All right, use the bathroom. If you don't go by the sink and turn the sink on, there should be an alarm, a loud alarm for everybody to hear, just like the lunk alarm in Planet Fitness, if you know what that is. Oh, we have somebody who didn't wash their hands. Humiliate them. I mean, you know, we were taught these basic hygiene skills. Just like people, they don't flush the toilet, which is even more disgusting. No, I mean, we've got to take better care of our health, and we've gotten way too careless. And now we're paying the price. And, I mean, we are heading in a recession. The president's like, oh, well, you know, this isn't a recession just yet. No, it is. We're in a recession. The bubble burst. It got so inflated, the stock market. You know, we saw all the greed just running rampant, especially among a certain demographic, and now that bubble's burst. And now not only are they going to suffer, we're all going to suffer because of them. So I worry about all of the theaters being closed, all the people that are going to lose their jobs. And we're going to need something like the New Deal after this. We're going to need a massive bailout. And yes, it's going to mean that we're going to have to borrow a lot of money, and we're going to have to do it. Because if we don't, we can't let the economy collapse and have a depression. We can't allow that to happen. And I fear with this president, we're going to have that. And the last time the stock market crashed this much was, I think, in the late 80s. And guess who was the president then? Another Republican by the name of Ronald Reagan, who also, you know, Reaganomics, just like Trumponomics. Let's help the stock market. Let's help the rich, and screw everybody else. You know, and look at what happened. Look at what happened. It's not sustainable. And you know, I don't want to make this political, but I do think that we got to make sure Joe Biden becomes the next president of this country. All right. You know, I think he did just go on the debate, and I think he's the best chance of beating Trump. I mean, God, you got to be. I'm not going to say anything, but after Trump's performance after this, how could we give him another 4 more years? You know, he was talking about the airlines. We got to bail out the airlines. What about bailing out all the poor and the middle class people that are out of work right now, Mr. Trump? What about that? This guy is a complete buffoon and a complete idiot. And it's like we have no captain. We have no captain to the ship right now. And I just hope that we have the election, because some elections are being postponed. We've got to have that election. We can have a virtual election online if we have to. But we've got to get this president out. All right? He's done so much damage. He is a complete buffoon. All right? The way he handled it. All right? He tried to put everybody at ease, but, you know, saying everything's okay. Everything is not okay. And he finally admitted, well, we don't have this under control. Some of the press, I mean, this guy just, his press conferences are just ridiculous. I'm sorry, I don't need to go on about him. I really don't. But we're in this mess right now because of him. Because we didn't act. He didn't act to protect this country. He only cared about Wall Street and keeping the trade going and keeping the commerce going and not shutting down the borders and protecting America. Had he done that, this virus probably wouldn't be here, and we'd be able to live our lives. But we can't, because he didn't do his damn job protecting us. So that's where the anger comes in. Now we have the virus is here, and it has the potential to kill thousands or maybe even more. All right, and I mean, I have a relative. He's a healthy guy, but he's a senior citizen. He thinks if he gets it, he'll be all right. I don't know about that so much. I worry about him. All right, and I deeply am sorry for trying to downplay this virus. It is very serious. It is very serious, and it sucks that we have to shut all these things down. But it's about where people congregate. Like, I don't want martial law, and I don't think there's no signs that. I mean, there's a rumor saying there was going to be a lockdown in New York City, and that kind of got dispelled at this point. People have to be allowed to go outside of their houses. And I mean, even Cuomo realizes that. He's actually waived all the fees at the state park. So, get out there, enjoy nature. We're going to have to put our little materialism on hold. Fancy restaurants. I don't know about the malls. I get mixed messages if the malls are even closed or not. I don't know about that. All right, maybe they will be open because people still have to buy clothes. Obviously, supermarkets, things like that. And you can still go to I'm going to urge you, please, if there's a local restaurant you go to, continue to go there, support them, just take it out. They're still going to be open. You just have to take out. That's all. Luckily, the weather's getting warmer, and we're all going to have to be outside more and not enclosed in the same space, all crowded up, because that's how this disease spreads. And there is a silver line to this. Obviously, with all this, oil prices are dropping like no tomorrow, and the demand for fossil fuels is going down. The consumption is going down, way down. Greenhouse gas emissions are going to go way down. So the planet wins in this. The planet certainly wins. This planet needs a break from our global industrial civilization for a little while. All right, I don't want to see it collapse. What I'm saying is we need to do a little less consumption of things. All right, yeah, stay home more. Go to a park and walk around. Enjoy the nature trails. These instead of going, enjoy nature. Enjoy all the beautiful things that this planet has given us. I've never been much into that scene anyway. Even though a certain demographic is into that scene, the scene that we're talking about on the South Shore. But I think people need to just get outside, spend some more time at home. This is a good time for the families who have been broken up by all these things to be together again. To spend some time with each other. Because the family unit has been under tremendous attack over the past, I don't know how many years. People need to spend time together, it doesn't sound like they're going to force us to stay inside. Hopefully not. Hopefully people will be responsible. All right, in this, gatherings, the CDC recommends less than 50, I believe. Preferably less than 10. So, maybe get together with the family, but, you got to keep the gatherings level small. And the shutting down the schools, obviously the school's going to be a big disease. That should have been done sooner, actually. We should have done a lot sooner. And I was reading reports, too. People were coming in just a couple of days ago. People were coming in off planes from Europe, not being tested at all, and just walking right through. They could have had the virus and passed it on to who knows how many people. Again, what the hell? What the heck with this president? He's a freaking buffoon. This is the biggest mistake. This is going to go back as the biggest mistake that this country ever made. Electing Donald Trump to the White House. Terrible record for the environment, too. Don't even get me started on that. So, we'll get through this. I will somehow find a way to get through it. It's not going to be easy. But as long as I can go outside, as long as I can travel where I need to travel and there's public transportation, that's probably going to have, they're going to have to reduce the level of public transportation, because right now the railroad is still running a regular weekday schedule and they need to cut it back, I think, to a weekend schedule at this point. And the good news in that, if they cut it back to a weekend schedule, guess what? All that construction that they can't do during the week, they could do it during the week, and we could get this whole third track project moving even faster. How about that? That's a good idea, right? Same thing for the subway. This is an opportunity to fix a lot of stuff with all these people staying home. And I urge my viewers, I have to go out too every day, all right? But don't go somewhere, don't go to the mall, all right? I know the malls might be open, but, unless you really need to go to the mall to buy something, like clothes or something, don't go to the mall, all right? If the malls are open, all right? I don't know how it's going to work with the food courts. I don't know. Maybe that, I don't know. I mean, I really, it's because of those bars and because of those people who were acting the way they did that we had this. The governor yesterday said social distancing, so take some tables away, people far apart, but that didn't work. People didn't listen. They still jammed into the bar. Phil Murphy said there was a picture, I don't have the picture, but he had a reporter of some bar in Asbury Park. People were just stacked on top of each other, jammed in, celebrating St. Patrick's Day, even drinking from the same glass. That is so disgusting and so irresponsible, especially with what's going on. But I guess, they're drunk, so they don't care. The days of getting drunk in the bar, I'm afraid, are going to be over for a little while. All right? This is going to be the way things are. I mean, I'm starting to accept it. Obviously, this is taking a huge toll on me emotionally. The social isolation, obviously, it's going to be harder to meet people. I'm a lonely guy. As it is, I've gotten through a lot, as long as I can get outside and get to the Pine Barrens and enjoy nature. And I think that's what we should all encourage. And I'm seeing people encouraging that. Some parts, don't congregate in a picnic area. They may have to close that off or something. Too many people are in there. But, just go for a walk in the woods, either by yourself or with a couple of your family members or friends or girlfriend or wife. Enjoy nature. Take a break from the restaurant scene, the downtown scene, the Broadway scene, and just enjoy all the beauty that this planet has given to us. Boy, like I said, I'm not the most thing I enjoy, look forward to getting to the Pine Barrens. And maybe more people will get out there and see how beautiful the Pine Barrens are. We'll have a little more respect for them and other beautiful natural places in this world of ours. What I don't want to see is a complete lockdown and people not allowed outside, like Italy, where people are being asked what they're doing. That is, first of all, against the United States Constitution. Your freedom and one of my viewers made a comment, or somebody made a comment, free in your papers or whatever. You don't have to answer if they ask you what you're doing, But, people have to be responsible. Obviously, New Jersey is strongly suggesting that people stay home between 8 p.m. and 5 a.m. And this is because this is when the bars would be open. Maybe they could have some raves or something, obviously. If people are traveling at that time, they're traveling at that time if they can't help it. But, people need to, I'm usually not out at those hours anyway. I'm usually back by before 8. So, and that's New Jersey. It's not New York. Hopefully that doesn't happen here. But again, it's all about how people act. People need to act responsibly here, Obviously, we can't live our lives normally. It's hard to accept, and I know some of my viewers have kind of tried to get through to me, about this, and I appreciate it. I appreciate each and every one of your comments, even if I disagree with them. I just cannot fathom being locked in here because this is a small little apartment. It's only if you have a house, but. And you can go in the yard or something, but people have to be able to walk around and get exercise and get outside. That is also going to help their health too, and not just mental but physical. People need sunshine. So that we cannot allow that to happen here at all whatsoever. As far as the supermarkets go, things have calmed down a lot at the supermarket. I was there today. Yeah, there was runs on some things like chicken and meat, but they still had something. They still had stuff to eat. They still had food to eat, protein. They had meat. They had fish. Not a lot of chicken, but they had plenty of food for people to eat. They didn't have any toilet paper. Obviously, this is a big problem. Again, where is the president doing? He's nowhere to be found. The guy, all he cares about is the economy, Wall Street, Wall Street. What about all the rest of us? But he built this economy on lies. He built it on international trade, and he came in the White House with saying, well, we're gonna bring back domestic, but he actually did the reverse. More stuff went overseas, and we've relied on China even more. And when China shut down, that's what caused this whole thing. That's what caused this whole thing. We got to stop relying on these other countries and start making this stuff here again. This nonsense. Trump is a liar. He is a liar. You can't get pulled into this. He cannot get pulled into this. All right. He got us in this mess, and he ain't gonna get us out of it. I'm hoping. He wouldn't offer any answers to when things could get back to normal. It could be like this not just for a couple of weeks. It could be like this for months, and that's really what scares me. It's one thing if it's a period, a couple of weeks, but if it's months, and that all depends on you. That all depends on you and people avoiding close contact with each other. I'm not saying don't go out, but please, for the love of God, no crowding. You can't crowd in to places, and that's why these places are closing, because people aren't acting responsibly. And if you're sick or you test positive or you're suspected of having this virus, you must stay inside. Maybe go outside on your porch for fresh air, but you can't come into contact with anyone else because you're going to pass it on. So that's all I got to say. We're behind the curve with testing. We're behind the curve with this, but I'm praying and hoping that we can flatten the curve and we don't have what's going on in Italy right now. All right. There's a great amount of concern over a collapse of a hospital system because of an influx of patients, and we will, actually Bill de Blasio was talking about this, we are going to have to look at any empty buildings, even right here down in Hicksville, the empty Sears building. They may have to put a temporary hospital there if it gets bad enough. We need to be prepared to have lots and lots of people that are going to need help to fight this virus. So again, my deeps. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry that I underestimated it. I really am. That's only because I was getting information from politicians and media hype, and I wasn't hearing from the scientists. If it was the scientists speaking right away, then I would have obviously had a different reaction. It's just like with climate change. Most scientists agree we are in this climate crisis, and it's only going to get worse. And this virus, it may be just the beginning of a lot of natural disasters that may be occurring because of climate change. They've already said that we may have an above-average hurricane season, and it typically said East Coast is vulnerable. There was a couple of forecasts out. So not only this, we may have a hurricane. This climate crisis is. I still believe the climate crisis played a huge role in this virus. The lack of extreme cold, here's the thing: the two things that extreme cold does, and especially extreme cold and lots of snow. So the extreme cold will it can kill the virus, but it also keeps people from going out as much. Therefore, the virus doesn't spread as much. But because it's been so warm, people acting like it's summer, they're going out, And usually in the winter, you have times that it's slow, people stay home. We never got that because we never got a winter. So that helped the virus spread that much more, and I believe that was a factor too in this. Not having the cold in the winter that usually you can get those snowstorms. A lot of people stay inside. We never got those snowstorms. And it wasn't just us on the East Coast. It was many parts of the country and other parts of the world even that didn't hardly saw any snow. In parts of Europe too. So this is all over the world that this is happening. And Trump also said, well, yeah, this is a world problem. Yeah, and so is climate change, Mr. Trump. And this is only going to get worse. This disease is going to get worse. There's going to be more people. Hopefully we can keep the numbers down, but it's going to get higher. There's going to be way more people diagnosed. There's going to be more people in the hospital. And worst of all, sadly, there's going to be more people dying. But we have to do what we can to reduce those numbers. And as far as, the economy, when we can calm this down and this virus can stop circulating, and I hope and pray it does by Memorial Day, that it may not. All right? It may take a lot longer. I'm hoping it doesn't, but it depends on our actions to contain it, and also depends on various scientific factors and stuff. But when we can get this contained, when we can go on, we're going to have to talk about massive bailouts, and this president may not go along with it. He may only care about Wall Street. We can't let that happen. Hopefully it doesn't go on for too long. Hopefully by the time we can get something passed, hopefully we'll have another president that will do something to help everybody. Joe Biden may not be perfect, but you know what? Better than Trump. Trump is a complete disaster. He got us in this mess. He doesn't want to take any responsibility for it, which is disgusting. All right, I know I'm ranting and raving about Trump. I gotta stop it. The guy just, it's just like a horror movie. It's like a horror movie. But you know what? We'll get through it. Hopefully this won't be as bad as the Spanish flu pandemic back in 1918, I believe. There was another pandemic back in the 50s, too, that was pretty bad. Hopefully, but it's up to us to stop and contain this virus. And that's why, and if you're older, please stay in, if you're older, I'm not saying you can't go to the park or something, but you can't be around other people, because if you catch this, it could be bad. All right, so I'm praying for everybody out there, praying for everybody across the world dealing with this pandemic. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, emotionally, this has been very hard on me. Obviously, panic attacks, stress, emotional sickness. Obviously, I've never seen anything like this. But as long as I can get outside and get to the Pine Barrens, I can get through this, I think. That's going to be it for this video. Pray for the world, pray for America, and let's look out for each other and do what's right here, all right? As hard as it is, we have to avoid as much social contact as possible right now. Take care, everybody, and be well.